Another wild week in the Big 12 in the books. What were the biggest surprises, upsets, and maybe disappointments? Let's start with an early game. Anthony Totri, are the Arizona Wildcats for real? They moved to 7-3 after getting a road win over number 25 Cincinnati 30-24. Now Cincinnati has two conference losses. Arizona not in conference championship contention, but certainly a team that is better than a lot of people thought they were going to be coming into the season.
Yeah, I think you got to absolutely put some respect on the Arizona Wildcats right now. Cincinnati a couple weeks ago was considered one of the best teams in this conference, along with Houston, along with Texas Tech, along with BYU. There were some folks that had Brendan Sorsby's name thrown in the Heisman conversation just a few short weeks ago. So for Arizona to go on the road at Cincinnati, get to 30 points and outduel Brendan Sorsby, I mean, got to tip your cap to Arizona and especially Noah Fafita.
Yeah, I mean, Noah Fafita has been really, really good this entire season, breaking some records there at U of A that have been held for a little bit. I mean, Sorsby was a little banged up this game, but at the end of the day, you're on the road and you got a close win. And that is not something that the Brent Brennan era of football has been very conducive to. Road wins
Yeah.
or close wins and letting things, work out in the clutch. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle the rest of their season. Obviously, for us here, we'll be watching that last week of the regular season when they do play Arizona State in Tempe. We'll get to ASU in a second, but first, the best game of the Saturday by far, Totri, Kansas State, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State still winless in the Big 12 for now almost two entire seasons, 0-7 this year after going 0 for last year as well. Oklahoma State has one win on the season. Kansas State moves back to 500 and above 500 in the Big 12 at 4-3 with a awesome 14-6 victory.
Man, that's tough for everybody, right? For everybody involved, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, that was just rough for everybody. 20 total points, 14-6. I mean, at least at this point, I think the positive for Oklahoma State is that it's almost over. Like the
Yes.
year is completely, it's almost done. And then you get a hit reset and start over. And for Kansas State, I mean, at this point, you're still fighting for bowl eligibility. So we'll see what Avery Johnson and company have next week.
Last year they did the preseason media poll, and that was big time wrong. Obviously, Arizona
Yeah.
State last. This year they stopped doing that. They did a coaches poll, who was like the most likely to make and win the Big 12 championship. The coaches picked Kansas State, so I'll be interested to see if next year they stop doing that as well, and we just don't have any preseason media polls or whatever. But we don't need to spend too long on that game. We don't need to spend too long on Utah Baylor as well, because Utah just beat the brakes off of Baylor on the road in Baylor's house, 55-28 for the number 13 Utes. That's going to go up. Now we're talking, is there going to be a team from the Big 12 that might get an at-large bid? Or if you don't win the Big 12 championship, at least be in consideration for it?
I mean, Utah is not going to get that love because they're not in the Big 10 and they're not in the SEC. If you've watched Utah against some of these middle-of-the-pack Big 12 teams, they have absolutely just outclassed them, torn every single one of them to shreds. If I'm a Baylor fan watching this game, it was the last straw for Dave Aranda because Sawyer Robertson threw the ball nearly 60 times, 430 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns. They only put up 28 points. If I'm a Baylor fan, I hear that. I think we won, right? Or at least it's a close game. Utah scores 55. Devin Dampier goes 6 of 13 for 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. It was Bird Ficklin on the ground, a $166 and 2 touchdowns. Baylor fans, I mean, just all you could do is turn it off.
Here's a real question. Do we have a quarterback controversy in Utah? Because Bird Ficklin has been killer.
Yeah, he has. I mean, look, I don't know what Devin Dampier's eligibility is long-term at this point. But, I mean, Bird Ficklin, when he's been in, he's been good, man.
Yeah, I don't care who your quarterback is. You shouldn't be throwing the ball 60 times. I don't care. You're not going to have a long-term recipe for success there. Long-term got a little more interesting for Arizona State this afternoon, Totri. 25-23. Technically a comeback win against West Virginia after holding the lead for a majority of that game. West Virginia scores late on a massive 3rd and 27 from basically their own end zone to the other end zone touchdown. ASU then fights back, claws back, hits a field goal, and then gets a game winning pick courtesy of Keith Abney, the best corner in the Big 12, one of the best in all of college football. ASU technically keeps their Big 12 championship hopes alive. Obviously, Arizona beating Cincinnati was a big part of that as well. Maybe a game we'll get to here in a second isn't so helpful in that realm, but ASU, I think, still very, very slightly in control of their own destiny. If not, they still have 9-3 on the books with Colorado and then a game against Arizona for their final 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. This one, for some Arizona State fans, I think it was okay, a win's a win. And then other ones were just absolutely in shambles. Considering that this was a team in Arizona State that was favored by double digits, you had every intention of absolutely dominating West Virginia based off of what you saw against Iowa State. So it wasn't necessarily a world-beating performance, but a win is a win in college football. And Jeff Sims, I feel like, continues to look pretty solid. 2 straight starts, 2 straight wins for Jeff Sims. It would be an incredible story if Jeff Sims could lead Arizona State to the promised land and back to Dallas, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that would be a crazy story. I think just him coming in and them ending the season, 3-0, 4-0 with him at the helm there. I mean, that in itself, in its own right, for a guy like Jeff Sims with a career that he's had, would be pretty remarkable. 3 touchdowns for Jeff Sims, 81 yards through the ground that led the team. He's just been really damn good. The defense has been bend, don't break, a lot of red zone stops. But obviously, I mean, there were 2 touchdowns that I think total yardage was about 150 on those 2 individual plays.
Yeah.
Again, West Virginia, not a great team, but have been playing their best football as of late. They now lose their shot at bowl eligibility, and honestly, they had to play Texas Tech next weekend, so probably wasn't going to happen anyway. But again, a feisty West Virginia team. I think their future looks pretty decent under Rich Rod. We'll see, obviously, what happens with ASU this season, but Kenny Dillingham after the game, Totri, confirming that he ain't going anywhere, that Arizona State is home. So for all the other Big 12 fans that are in our comment section, shut up. It's not happening.
He's not going to Auburn. He's not going to LSU. We said it on the show a few weeks back. Dilly's not going anywhere, and he confirms it today. So Kenny Dillingham continues to activate the Valley.
Also not going anywhere, the one team that beat Texas Tech this year. Texas Tech, man, 48-9, a win over UCF. They are the number 6 team in the country coming into this weekend. I don't know how much love they'll get for beating UCF, but dominant at home yet again. They are in prime position to be competing for not only a Big 12 championship, but to make some noise in the college football playoffs.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, I don't think we need to talk too much about a 48-9 win as a whole, but I do want to talk about Jacob Rodriguez as one of the best defensive players in all of college football here in the Big 12.
I think you said offensive player?
He did get his first offensive touchdown of his college career. A few weeks back, he hit the Heisman pose. And I mean, this guy continues to do just unreal things week in, week out for Texas Tech.
Yeah, I mean, their whole team is unreal. They have some incredible top-end talent. And when they're clicking, there's not a lot of other teams in the country that can put up the numbers that they put up on offense. Obviously, I mean, their remaining schedule, they play West Virginia, so they're cakewalking. I mean, you got to just say
they should, right? They should, yeah. But it's college football, man.
It's true. It's college football, and it's at West Virginia, right? Which changes everything.
In the mountains.
I think if Tech hadn't already gotten that loss to ASU, then maybe they'd be a little bit more alert to that. But who looked really alert tonight, Totri? This game is technically still in progress, but it's been such a beatdown. We said, let's just roll it anyway. Number 12, BYU just rolling TCU at home, 24-3 at the time that I'm talking about it. But I don't think it's just the score, Totri. It's how they do it. One of those touchdown drives, they were pinned back by their own end zone. They didn't even get a third down. They just marched down the field and bang. Touchdown there. I mean, the BYU responded to their loss to Texas Tech in pretty quick fashion, at least at the time that this is being recorded.
Yeah, exactly. At least they have right now, again, 24-3 as we're recording this. BYU needed this, right? They needed to have this type of performance against a relatively feisty team in TCU, especially after that big game that they had and lost to Texas Tech. I feel like this was kind of the fork in the road for BYU this season, similar to what they had last year, where you have an opportunity down the stretch to win ball games and eventually go to the Big 12 championship. Last year, they took the approach of losing streak. This year, at least so far, they've started it with somewhat of an impressive stomping of TCU.
Yeah, and they look forward to the rest of their schedule. They do play UCF the final week of the season, but in between that, they're on the road against Cincinnati, who's going to be desperate for a win in their own right. Obviously, there seems to be 3 teams vying for that top spot in the Big 12, Texas Tech, BYU, and Utah, but a couple other teams are not out of it. A lot to keep track, and we'll continue to keep track right here on PHNX Sun Devils. Of course, live shows covering ASU pretty much every day of the week and all your Big 12 content you could possibly need, all right here on this channel. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll talk to you all very soon.